Welcome back, everybody, to a brand new episode of The Final Verdict. I am John Dodaro. It is just me today for this episode. We got a big stretch this week on The Final Verdict. We got a lot of episodes dropping, and it's going to be a big week for us. One, because 3 episodes are going to drop today that I plan to do. 2 are just by myself, and then the third one, with Carlin, our Wednesday Season 2 Part 2 review, is going to be our official 100th episode of The Final Verdict. So it's a pretty big week in a way. We don't really like to celebrate too much. We're not very sentimental, but it's a fun week for us, I would say. A lot of reviews dropping. I got this one, I got another TV show one, and then obviously Wednesday with both me and Carlin. Peacemaker at the end of the week. We always do. And also, in the theaters, The Long Walk is coming out at the end of the week, and I really want to see that. So that should ideally be another movie review for all of you guys. So it's kind of a busy week for The Final Verdict, and we're going to get right to it. So this is another movie review. I'm a little late to this. I saw this movie back on Friday, and obviously this episode is dropping not on Friday. So I'm a little behind, but this is the best time to do it. And I felt like I had to do it in a way. Because first off, this movie's doing really well. The Conjuring Last Rites. It's doing really good in the box office. It's another hit for Warner Brothers. So I almost had to do something. Once I've heard how successful this movie's been, I had to give my opinion. I saw it with my parents. I didn't see it with Carlin. Carlin's not big with horror. So dragging him to see The Conjuring, that would have been a tough task. So I got to see it. I was initially going to do a quick review, but I think I will go spoilers. So this is going to be a normal review. We'll do the spoiler-free section first. I'll give it a final verdict like I do with every movie. And then I will discuss some things that I thought of in the spoiler section. It'll probably be the nitpicks that I have and the criticisms I have. I'll talk mostly in the spoiler section. But because I have a decent amount to say about this movie. So let's just get into it. Spoiler-free section first. But this is a franchise. The Conjuring is a franchise. So I think it's best to just talk about first how much I know of this franchise. So there have been a good amount of movies that have came out of the Conjuring universe. It's crazy to say the Conjuring universe. It's kind of funny. It all started with The Conjuring, the very first movie that did really well. Made 319 million worldwide. Directed by James Wan or James Wan. I don't know how you'll say it. We'll go with Wan. If I'm wrong, my bad. But he directed the first 2 movies, and these 2 are typically known as the 2 best movies. Then Annabelle was made, a spinoff. There's been 3 Annabelles, Creation and Comes Home. I've seen Comes Home. The Nun 2, I've never seen those. And then 2 additional Conjuring movies. So, and there's a whole timeline of this. The timeline technically starts from The Nun to The Nun 2, then Annabelle Creation, then Annabelle, then The Conjuring, then Annabelle Comes Home, then The Conjuring 2, then The Conjuring 3, then The Conjuring 4. We're talking about The Conjuring 4 today. So, that's the whole universe. Now, what have I seen and what have I not seen? So, I haven't seen a lot of these. I've seen some. Years ago, I watched Annabelle Comes Home. I honestly thought it was pretty decent. I haven't seen it recently, though. I saw The Conjuring years ago, but I just graduated from college. And the very start of my senior year, me and my roommate Lance, who follow Inside the Dome, he used to be on there a lot back when we lived together, we watched, very first day together in our apartment, we watched The Conjuring 3, which was called The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. So we watched that. That movie came out in 2021. We watched it. We did not like it. In particular, I did not like it. I thought this movie was dumb. I thought the story was dumb. I just wasn't really into it. I wasn't liking the characters aside from the 2 main people, Ed and Lorraine, who are the staples of the whole universe. I just wasn't really enjoying this movie. And I haven't seen it since, but this was not for me. I was not a big fan. I wasn't even that scared of this movie either. And that should be the big thing with these movies. They should at least be scary. I was not scared. I thought it was dumb more than anything. But the other big thing, too, is that these movies say that they're based on true stories. When you watch The Conjuring 3 and you watch this one that I'm going to review, it is maybe like a glimpse of a true story. There is no way that this whole thing is based on a true story. And it's not. We'll get to it when we get to The Conjuring Last Rites. So that movie sucked. But when I graduated, the very last day I was in that apartment with Lance, we decided, for the fun of it, to watch the very first Conjuring to see if a good movie would come out of it. And I haven't seen this in so long. And we actually liked it. It was pretty good. I wouldn't say I was scared, but there was a lot of good tension. I was digging the plot overall. So I was liking it. I was really liking the first Conjuring, and I thought it was a good movie. Wanted to call it like on the level of Weapons or Sinners. Those are just two movies I've seen this year. I wouldn't say it's on that level for me, but I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. And I really liked the last like 10-15 minutes, the whole exorcism part. So that's really where it comes down for me in the Conjuring universe. I haven't seen the Nuns or the other Annabelles. Conjuring 2 is very not in my memory either. So going into this movie, I was a little scared in a way because the person who directed it, Michael Chavez, he directed The Devil Made Me Do It and The Nun 2. And I don't think both movies are viewed as very good in the franchise. James Wan directed the first two, and he's also produced these other ones. So I was a little concerned going into it. So, is it as bad as The Devil Made Me Do It? No. I think it was better. I was more engaged with it. I thought it was less stupid. I was digging the plot. I liked the characters, in particular Ed and Lorraine, and I thought the rest of the characters were serviceable. Best way to put it. But this movie does best when it focuses on Ed and Lorraine because we care about them. This is technically their send-off movie. It's the last movie with them, I believe. Apparently, this is not the end of the Conjuring universe. But then again, I don't know what more they can do. But then again, this movie's already made $194 million globally in its first week, the best opening weekend for a Conjuring movie. So they're probably gonna make another one. But this is the last movie for these two, and I think this movie did them right. I liked the direction that they went with these two characters. Obviously, Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson have been playing them for a while now. I love the sideburns on Ed. I really do. But I think these two characters were the standouts in this movie. I can definitely say that. And the rest of the characters were fine. You got the daughter, Judy, who, I mean, I've seen Annabelle Comes Home and I've seen the first Conjuring, and Judy was like a little kid. And now Judy is like a full blown adult that's like on the verge of getting married at some point. So it's like, Jesus, how much time has passed from the first Conjuring to this? The fact that she grew up like 10, 20 years, that's pretty crazy. That kind of caught me off guard. And because of that, it was like, I don't want to spoil the first scene, but it kind of took some tension out of the first scene because we know that their kid exists. I'll just leave it at that. But I mean, I think the character was fine. She's got a boyfriend. I thought he was also fine. This movie has two different plot lines. It takes until the third act to bring them together. The second plot line is the haunting of a family. A family is being haunted by a mirror, and we get to see these people in the family, and they get haunted. And by the time the storylines merge, because they kind of have to, I feel like the characters of the family don't mean anything at that point. Like, the first act or two, when they're shown the family, they're building up their characters, I would say. But once the storylines merge, they don't really mean anything. Like, it all comes down to Ed and Lorraine and their side of the family. Like, the teenage daughters that they introduce and they try to build a little bit, they are background characters by the time you get to the third act. Like they don't mean a thing. So I think they did the family a little dirty. I mean, there's a lot of people in this family. I'm just looking at the wiki here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 people of this family. But as the movie keeps going on, the movie cares less and less about them as characters. They're kind of just there in the background. They have a dog. And I will do the mildest spoiler because I know some people kind of don't like these things. Does the dog die? Because in the first Conjuring movie, they killed the dog, I believe. You can have a warm heart. It's okay. The dog makes it. I will just say that. That's the only spoiler I'm going to say. The dog makes it. So if you're scared that the dog is going to die and that's going to determine if you want to see this movie, the dog lives. So I'm just going to say that right now. I feel like that's a fair thing to say. But I do feel like this movie doesn't care about the characters and the dog as the movie keeps going. So, a little negative there. The story, The Haunting, is it interesting? A little bit. Wouldn't call it the most interesting thing in the world. There's some lore that you learn. I don't know if it's lore from previous movies. I doubt it. But there's lore. Did I care for it? Not really. There's like multiple demons and stuff. I don't know. They look kind of funny, but I didn't really care too much for the story. It's kind of there. I just think narratively, it was kind of hard. Or I think the family, the Smurl family, that's what their names are, the Smurl family. They're at a big disadvantage because they have, like I've kind of already said, there's 2 separate storylines, one with the Warren family and one with the Smurl family. And eventually, once they intersect, the Smurl family kind of just gets pushed into the background. So I think the structure didn't favor the Smurl family at all. And they wanted to do like the haunted house story, but then they also want to tell this Warren story. I don't know if it fully worked. This movie's also pretty long, too. This movie is 2 hours and 15 minutes. This movie could have easily been an hour and 40 minutes. I don't think this movie had to go beyond 2 hours. I wouldn't say it dragged, but I did feel the length a little bit. It is a bit long. It could have been trimmed. I don't know. They could have maybe trimmed the Smurl family even more. Maybe not even have them in it, but you have to base it on a true story, I guess. Let's just get to that. It's based on a true story. I did my wiki research here, and I read the true story of the Smurl haunting. And there was never a floating mirror that spun like crazy. I don't believe there was like a dude with an axe that like killed people and all that. Like, I don't think any of that was in the real history. The movie takes a lot of liberties in the true story. Let's just say that right now. This is not, I mean, it's based on a true story, but every single event that happens is not based on the true story. This isn't like a reimagining of everything that happened in real life. It's not. It's really not. Like, the real story is like the Smurls lived into a house in Pennsylvania, and they noticed some things. Ed and Lorraine did go there to investigate, and they found some things, some very powerful demons, and that's about it. There wasn't like a mirror and everything and all that. Their daughter wasn't there with her boyfriend, I don't think, and there was like a big final fight in that house. So I mean, it's kind of based, but just so you know, this movie, when you see these crazy demons and everything, that's not based on the true story. It's not. There's no way. So, and then we'll come into another complaint. I think that one thing that the first movie had going for it is that because the first movie, all of them are kind of based on true stories. The first one felt more realistic, I would say, in terms of like, that kind of feels like it could be true. It felt like a classic haunting of a house. where they have to perform an exorcism. But in this one, when you see like these crazy monsters and everything and all that, there's no way. Like they've kind of just gone to the point where it's so absurd. But because it is based on the Smurl haunting, they can market it as based on a true story. And they say that at the beginning of the movie. And it's like, okay. But this whole movie isn't fact for fact based on the true story. So I kind of wish these movies are a little more realistic. They've kind of went beyond that. So it is what it is. Is this movie scary? That's the next thing. The plot can be iffy, the characters can be whatever, but is the movie truly scary? The answer is for me. It's different for people. Like I was watching with my mom and she jumped for a lot of the jump scares. I was kind of ready for the jump scares. This movie is heavily reliant on jump scares. I don't think anything else was scary. Big demons aren't really scary to me. Like I don't get creeped out by the Conjuring demons. So, I mean, it wasn't that scary to me, in my opinion. I mean, it is what it is. If you get easily jumped by jump scares, you will jump at certain points. And it had some eerie moments. I like the beginning, but I wouldn't say this movie was the scariest thing in the whole entire world. I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't. I think I was more scared from the first movie, but even the first movie wasn't like the scariest thing. True horror for me that works for me is just building that environment of tension where you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's real or what's not real. Using CGI monsters also doesn't help for me as well. Like, that's not scary to me. If you just show a random person, though, like acting creepy, that scares me. Like, if you just have like an old woman just smile creepily, that will scare me. Just having that eerie environment. You don't need to have jump scares to be scary. You just have to have a great environment. And they had some great environments, but then there would be just some laughable demon that pops up, and it's like, oh, okay. And the jump scare might work, but other than that, not really. I don't know. But if you're a fan of jump scares, it will make you jump at times. So if you like that kind of horror, it's there. There was also a gross moment too. I don't like gross horror where it's like disgusting. I don't know. That's also not for me. There was like a gross moment where there was like something in someone's mouth. It was kind of gross. I'll leave it where it is. Um, but yeah, it was okay in terms of horror. But there's not too much I want to talk about other than spoilers, so I'm gonna grade it soon. But if you're a fan of this universe, you'll like it. You'll like it. If you've watched every movie and you've been following along with these characters and you know the lore of Annabelle and all that, the nun, whatever, you'll enjoy it. You will. If you're not a fan of the universe, if you hated the third one, I'm not going to say go out and see it. You might want to wait and see it when you're in your apartment or whatever, like I was when I saw the third one. So it's kind of a hit or miss movie depending on who you are. I think my parents liked it more than I did. But I think this movie was at least thrilling near the end. It wasn't scary, it was more thrilling near the end. So it was like an exciting ending. I'll give it that. I wasn't like watching the last 10 minutes and I was like, this sucks. But I was kind of like, oh, that's it. Okay. I like it. It's fine. Also, how they confront the demon and all that, I think a lot of luck was more involved than a lot of planning. And that kind of bothered me when really thinking about the ending. Uh, I just, I think they kind of got lucky at times near the end of this movie. They didn't really have a concrete plan and things just happened. So I think they kind of got lucky. I'll talk more about that in spoilers. That's the other nitpick I have. So let's grade this thing. Looking at all the criteria and everything, I'm going to give this movie a 6 out of 10. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. That means above average. That doesn't mean it's bad. Doesn't mean it's average. Doesn't mean it's good. It's above average. It's a 6 out of 10. I'm not going to say where that is. Actually, I'll kind of say where that is in my rankings. So far this year, I have seen 28 movies in 2025. So that puts The Conjuring kind of in the dead middle in a way. I have it above a Minecraft movie because I think some more care was put into this. I have it above any other horror movies. I have it above The Woman in the Yard. I have it above. That's about it for horror. It's below 28 Years Later. It's below Karate Kid's Legends because I feel like I'd watch that over The Conjuring again. That's kind of a good general gaze of where I have it. Stream it, skip it, savor it. I would only savor this and see it in the theaters if you are a fan of the franchise. Other than that, you can wait till streaming, I would say. Though also September, I think one reason why this movie's doing well is because what's really out at this moment, aside from like the movies of August and maybe July that you've probably already seen. So I think it released at a good time. I wonder if The Long Walk will impact how many people see it. So it dropped at a good point where there really isn't a lot of competition except stuff from weeks ago. So that's a big benefit for this movie. So if you are bored, go see it if you're bored. But I'm not going to say see this with urgency. So, time to spoil a little bit. If you have not seen the movie yet and you do not want to be spoiled on anything that happens, stop listening now. Come back to this point later. But if you have seen the movie or you just don't care to be spoiled, keep on listening. Spoilers start right now. You have been warned. So, yeah, this movie. Kind of funny in terms of the monsters. Like, there's a woman that was like hiding in between the bed. That didn't really scare me. There was like a dude with an axe. Like, none of that was real. I don't think they were chased around with a guy with an axe. Where to start? We'll start at the beginning. Let's just go through it. We'll go through the wiki summary. It's not too bad. So the whole starts with like a really young Ed and Lorraine, and this isn't a CGI Ed and Lorraine. This is they recasted them as younger people, Madison Lawyer and Orion Smith, and they looked the part. I'll give them that. They looked the part as the younger Ed and Lorraine, assuming that they played the Ed and Lorraine from the beginning. And Lorraine is pregnant, and then they investigate a haunting involving a mirror at a shop. And apparently this is their first ever case. Very first one, and she decides to do this while pregnant. Okay, not very smart. She touches the mirror and then collapses. She sees a vision of an entity in her unborn child and goes into labor. The baby is stillborn. However, Lorraine's prayers revive the baby. Okay. Who she names Judy. Take it how you will. I feel like the only thing that sucked with this scene was that we know that they have the baby. We know Judy exists. Unless they were going to go with the notion that they had a kid that died and then they had Judy. Maybe if they went that route, could have been more interesting, could have had more attention. But because we all know that Judy exists because we've seen these films, it kind of took away some tension. So we expected Judy to make it. There was like a creepy scene watching, or like a creepy demon watching. The demons in these movies are so dumb at times. They really are. We'll get into it later, but they are so dumb. Like, and these demons, I don't really know what they want. Like, some want to possess the people that they possess and get them to kill themselves. And I feel like if they really want to get that accomplished, they can do it so much easier. But they love just giving the good guys a chance to save the day. It's just kind of funny. I'm not going to lie how dumb these demons can be in these movies. So that's how the movie starts. This was a pretty decent scene, I'd say. 22 years later. So Judy is now 22. I don't know how old Judy was in the first film. So a lot of time has passed from the first film to this one. So it goes to the Smurl family. They moved to Pennsylvania. A lot of Pitt references and Steelers. I like the Steeler part. I don't like the Pitt part. They share a home with the grandparents, who my crazy theory was the grandparents were involved in this all and they were evil because they decide to, well, first off, they have 4 daughters. 2 are twins and then the other 2 are younger. The granddad decides to gift one of the twins the mirror. The mirror just comes back. So it's like Ed and Lorraine, they essentially have this instance with the mirror years ago, 22 years ago. And I guess their antique basement didn't exist. So they didn't do anything with the mirror. They just avoided it all this time. Even though, like, Lorraine saw a demon that day and everything, they didn't think once to keep track of that mirror over 22 years. I don't know. So these grandparents stupidly give their granddaughter a broken mirror. Okay, that's pretty dumb and sketch, sus. So that's why I thought the grandparents were like evil from the beginning, and apparently they weren't. They were just dumb. So there's that. Um, they give the mirror to the granddaughter, the teenage granddaughter who has a twin, Heather. Um, Not Heather. Wait, hold up. Oh, never mind. I guess Heather is older. The twins, I guess, are the younger ones. So, dinner. A kitchen ceiling light suddenly crashes down, narrowly missing Heather. So, this demon's mad. The demon has been brought in because of the mirror. I guess wherever the mirror is where it just haunts the house, I guess. Okay, we'll go with it. So this demon's having some fun. He just loves terrorizing people. I know they made a movie that was from the demon POV, but I would love them for I would love for the Conjuring to just do that uh in the Conjuring universe where they have a movie with a demon POV. That'd be so fun. I just love to know what the demon's doing. Like just like dropping things and like pushing people downstairs and all that. I just feel like that'd be a fun movie to watch. He's like, "Woohoo! I'm gonna do this little attack here. I'm gonna drop this picture. I'm gonna break the lights. I'm gonna turn on and off the lights over and over. Wee! I think that'd be such a fun movie to watch. I'm gonna do this jump scare and appear when they least expect it. I'd love it. So then we go to the Warrens due to Ed's worsening heart condition, which was from the third movie. I remembered that. The Warrens are now retired from active investigations, because Ed cannot be jump scared again, or else his heart will fail him again. So they give lectures who now people think of them as jokes because we got the Ghostbusters. That's fine. Showing their how nobody cares as years go on. But they are still pretty famous people at this point. Like they are well established as like the ghost hunters. Like later in the movie when they show up, like everyone knows who they are. Like they are well known at this point. So, um, while at dinner, Judy, who has become increasingly sensitive to psychic episodes, yeah, Judy and Lorraine both have like the ability to see things, to see the demons. They have that ability. They've had that, or Lorraine's had that since the first movie. Now Judy has it. Is that based on a true story? Is it Conjuring? Does Lorraine have these in real life? I won't question it. But she does in the movies. Um, Judy has an episode and begins to panic. Using a rhyme created while Judy was a little girl, Lorraine helps her calm down. Afterwards, Lorraine reminds her to always shut herself off from the supernatural. Okay. On the Smurls household, Dawn and Heather attempt to dispose of the mirror. So the two teenage daughters, the one smart thing they did was they just tried to get rid of this mirror. It's creepy. We're seeing things. We don't like it. So they get rid of it. Now, it turns out that this would be a dumb decision because breaking it doesn't help. But in their senses, this was actually pretty smart. I will not lie. So the family continues to be terrorized by three entities: an elderly woman, a younger woman, and a man wielding an axe. So they're being terrorized. The one girl had glass in her mouth and was spitting it out. And she like puked blood. And but then later in the movie, she's like unaffected by it. Like her mouth isn't bandaged or anything. Like she's like completely fine in the next scene when we get the family. Um, so they're being haunted. At this point, they decide to do another kind of smart thing. They get the press involved. They tell their story to the press, which is what they actually did do in real life. I'll say that, at least, in terms of based on a true story. So they tell their story to the press, and they hope to find help. And then that gets Father Gordon to come. And I guess Father Gordon's been in all the movies. I don't really remember him, but I'll take it for what it is. He's a mainstay. This movie also had a lot of cameos from people from the previous movies. The real life Judy and boyfriend, I think, were in this movie as well. The previous director was in this movie. There were a lot of cameos. Some in the wedding scene at the end, and some during the family cookout. There were a lot of cameos there too. So just something to watch if you're bored, want to watch it again. So Father Gordon goes to the house and he investigates, and smoke starts appearing when he's throwing holy water around. And then he's like, "Yep, I gotta go get help." The demon is just like, the demon is asking for Ed and Lorraine to come, which is true. The demon wants Ed and Lorraine to come and to bring Judy. Like, the demon wants it. So the demon is trying to reveal itself to Father Gordon, I guess, so that the Lorraine or Ed and Lorraine can come. So that's what they're banking. That's what the demon's banking on. Judy's boyfriend Tony proposes to Judy during Ed's birthday party, which she accepts. That was a fun little scene, but it took us away from the horror, and we went to the family a bit. Some people might not like that. I didn't mind it. I mean, we really left the horror for a while. There was a scene where Judy was in her room and she saw Annabelle. We'll never get rid of Annabelle. I don't know why she keeps seeing Annabelle, because Annabelle's locked up in the basement. So I don't know why Judy still sees Annabelle. I don't get it. Tell me the lore if you know the lore. Keeping it forward, unable to attend the Warrens' help, Father Gordon goes to the Diocese of Scranton. It's a church, to assist the Smurls. Then the demon says, Nah, I'm after you too. I'm more than just beyond this house. The demon attacks Father Gordon and induces him to commit suicide. So I don't know how this really happened. I don't know if Father Gordon was just seeing things. Like, he went to like a woman at the reception table and talked to her. Was she like never there? Are we going like Smile 2 territory here? Where like things are hallucinations? I don't know. But he kills himself with no one watching until it happened. Seems very uncharacteristic. I feel like most people would anticipate, including the Warrens, they would anticipate that he was possessed by a demon. So, I don't think the Warrens got that message, though, until Judy went to investigate herself. At the funeral, Judy learns from a vision that he died while investigating the Smurls' haunting. So she secretly leaves for Pennsylvania to investigate. And Lorraine has a vision that warns her about Judy. So this is when the stories start to intertwine, and at this point, the Smurls characters just become background characters. Any development that they had, bye-bye. It's gone. Never going to be heard of again. No more character development for these people. Going forward, they won't get possessed because they were never the goal. They were never the goal to be possessed. The main possession was on Judy. So here's my problem. What if the Warrens never came? What if Father Gordon never went there? Like, what if the Warrens never came? What was the demon's goal? Was the demon just going to keep messing with them forever, pushing the grandma down the steps to get her out of the movie? Like, was the demon just going to keep having fun at the house until it got bored? Like, it wasn't possessing any of them. It put some glass in one of their mouths. It rose the dad up in the air. Like, it's just having fun. Like, what was the goal for the demon if the Warrens never came? I don't know. Demon got lucky. So they all go to the Smurls' house. The Warrens want to leave, except Judy. I mean, Ed can literally die if this goes crazy. Lorraine wants to be done. But Judy wants to stay. Judy wants to figure it out, which is, here's what they could have done. They could have been like, okay, Judy, we'll help, but you got to go home. You and Tony, the boyfriend, you two go home, and we'll handle this. Case closed, movie's over. At that point, Like, if Judy just went home, like, Judy's not a professional in this. Like, Ed and Lorraine have been doing this forever. So it's like, if they just sent Judy home, then, like, boom, movie's over. Demon can't possess Judy. That's what the demon wanted. So they could have just sent her home. Though, but Judy was having visions, and even Lorraine was having visions. Like, there was a scene with, like, Judy trying on a wedding dress, and then, like, a creepy old lady, like, went underneath her dress and touched her. I don't know what it was. And then, what was that all about? Like, was that related to the Smurls haunting? I don't know. I guess, because that's not what drove Judy to the Smurl house. That wasn't what did it. It was the, just figuring out with Father Gordon. That was it. I don't know. I guess it was related, maybe. But I don't know why the demon was attacking the Warrens when the Warrens were never at the house. I could see why it attacked Father Gordon, because Gordon was at the house. So he came into contact with the demon. But I don't know. Why did the demon have to wait 22 years to get what it wanted? Who awakened the demon? Because the demon, I don't know. Questions to be had. Questions that maybe were answered that I missed. I don't know. But I got some questions. So they all stay. Ed takes his time to interview Jack and Janet about their experience, while Lorraine explores the entire home and realizes that there's demons there, and she sees the demon hiding in the bed and everything. Demon was trying to take a little nap. After a deep investigation, she senses a tragedy that happened in the household. We'll get to that in a second. So, here's my other question. They could have sent Judy home. Why did Ed have to be there? I mean, Ed interviews the people, but once, like, they interviewed, like, they probably should have just sent him home. Like, you got Tony, who's pretty able to do things. Unless they were going to have a full-on exorcism. I don't know. Could Lorraine do it? I don't know. Like, Ed's at risk just being there. Like, did Ed have to be there? I don't know. I guess they both have to be there. So, interesting. And there's also... No, that's later. We'll get to that in a bit. So, Lorraine, using retrocognition, discovers that the three spirits are of a husband who had brutally murdered his wife and her mother after he discovered his wife's infidelity. She tells Ed that the presence is demonic, that is using the three spirits as a facade, blocking her to see past the spirits. This is when it kind of just gets confusing. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't really following this, so take it as you will. Judy is led to the attic by the visions. At this point, they are stupid for separating. So Judy separates. She's led to the attic by the visions and is attacked by an apparition of the Annabelle doll. Why does Annabelle keep showing up? She's locked up in the basement of the Warren house. Why does Annabelle keep showing up? I don't know. I don't get it. She falls down the stairs. Ed and Lorraine discover the mirror and realize it was the demon that resides in it from their first investigation, that over 22 years they didn't decide to think once about going back to that mirror. Okay, so they figured it out. The two families agreed to giving the mirror to the Warrens. So they want to essentially, their plan, there's no exorcism, because I guess no one is possessed. So there's no exorcism. Their goal is to just put the mirror in the basement with all the other creepy things. Where at least it's better the mirror being there than at the Smurl house. But is that going to solve the problem? First off, this demon has proven that it will go anywhere beyond the house. It's proven that. It went all the way to Father Gordon at the one church and attacked him there. This demon's been attacking the Warrens when they were not at the Smurl house. So, what does moving the mirror, do, in a way? Is their basement, protected, like magic protected. I don't know. So, kind of a dumb plan. But it also hurts because there's no exorcism to be made. So, I don't know. So they try moving the mirror. Um, Judy falls ill. So now Judy's sick. A rainstorm begins. So they're trying to move the mirror. The dad sees something in the mirror. Tony, the boyfriend, he's trying to take the car, which he takes a weird route. He's going like full speed. I don't know why he didn't park the car like right next to the house. But he sees an elderly woman in the street, which causes him to crash the car. So now everything's going terrible. They had no great plan to begin with, and now they're just screwed at this point. So the demon possesses Judy somehow. Could have just possessed Judy at her own house because the demon was attacking Judy before the Smurl house. I don't know. Possesses Judy. Judy attacks everyone. Attacks the dog, which I was about to walk out of the theater. The dog died. Dog didn't die. So Judy goes crazy, attacks Ed, who has an episode, but he doesn't die. Lorraine falls into a basement. She relives the murder he once committed to do with the axe. Tony saves Lorraine. Ed recovers. So Lorraine tells Ed that the demon is specifically after Judy the whole time. So Judy is in the attic now, attempts to hang herself, but is cut down by Ed. Plan failed for the demon right there. Not a great plan, demon. Not a great plan. Lorraine again revives Judy via prayer. The power of prayer in the Conjuring universe. Look at that. The family is attacked by the mirror. So, I'm just going to read this whole thing in a second. But, yeah, this movie's a 6 at most. That's kind of generous. Because this plot is kind of dumb when you really read it out. So the demon's plan was to possess Judy. So I guess it wanted to get Judy to the house, where I guess, did Judy have to touch the mirror for Judy to get possessed? I don't know. I guess so. So demon's very lucky that Judy went to the house in the first place. So its plan was to possess Judy and get Judy to kill herself. Because all those years ago, the demon interacted with Judy, I guess. Okay, whatever. And then Judy tries hanging herself, and they fail, and then the whole demon's plan is just done at that point. And then we just get a floating mirror next. So here we go. The family is attacked by the mirror, the big evil mirror. Ed is unable to exercise the mirror alone, and Lorraine resolves to tell Judy to embrace her psychic abilities. With Judy's help, the Warrens destroy the mirror as their last rites. Okay, that's it. That's it. So they all put their hands on the mirror and it cracked. Okay. Good thing that worked out. There's like no exorcism really. Like Judy got possessed, but then she got unpossessed after the hanging attempt failed. And then the mirror just went full on attack mode, like destroyed Tony's leg. And then the three of them put their hands on the mirror. They all got superpowers, so problem solved. Good for you, I guess. Yeah, that was just like, at least it was entertaining when you try not to think about it too much. Like, I know I'm ripping on it. Like, at least these sequences were like thrilling. I'll give it that. When you really break down the story, though, it's kind of dumb. But at least I will say through all of it, it was kind of thrilling. It wasn't scary. It was thrilling. I'll give it that. I was at least intrigued to see how it ended. But it is what it is. It was fine. It was fine. Dumb, but fine. So, the Smurls relieved and continue to live there for more years. So, that's it. They broke the mirror, and that's it. Demon gone. Demon didn't care about that family. They just wanted Judy. Okay. They bring the mirror back to the home of what remains of the mirror. So I guess problem solved. Demons won't go after Judy again. To this day, it is simply known as the Conjuring mirror. Okay. Sometime later, Judy walks down the aisle with Ed during her wedding to Tony, where they Wikipedia, fix your grammar. People who attend the wedding are some familiar faces from their careers, as people from the first three movies. Some cameos happened. On the eve of the wedding, Ed and Lorraine embrace and dance, and she shares a vision that she had about their future. Excited to live the peaceful life that they always wanted. So they have a vision of Judy and Tony having kids and all that. I was watching one review. It was just funny. Like, they take calls now. Now that they're retired, they'll take calls. So it's like if someone calls Ed and Lorraine, like, help, we're being haunted by a demon. Like, what are they gonna do over a call? I don't know. Like, what are they gonna do? Like, talk to the demon over the phone? I don't know. Like, doing exorcism over the phone? I don't know. That was kind of funny. Do a little FaceTime, and you just see Ed's face in the phone while they're doing an exorcism. I don't know. That line was kind of funny. But it was a sweet little ending. It was the send off to Ed and Lorraine. That's the movie. It's above average. It's a 5 or a 6, and I'm being generous in giving it a 6 because I did have some fun with it. There was some fun with this movie. It is what it is. I had fun talking about it. I don't know what they're going to make next. I mean, I don't know how good the nuns are, so I don't think they're going to do a Nun 3. I think we're kind of done with Annabelle, so they're continuing this universe. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know how interesting the Conjuring movies are without Ed and Lorraine. I don't know if they're just going to do like the Judy and Tony taking over and doing movies together. I don't know. I wouldn't really care. I feel like I mean, these aren't the scariest movies, but then again, they are going to see the dollar signs. They are going to see that these movies make money, and they're just going to keep doing them. So even with the criticisms that I said, I'm probably still going to make movies. So it is what it is. So that's going to do it. Thank you all very much for listening. I plan on releasing an episode today for the show called Task. It'll be a quick review. I was recommended to it by my sister, so I'm going to watch and review it quickly. And also today, ideally, our Wednesday Season 2 Part 2 episode should drop. I'm only saying likely because I haven't recorded those episodes yet. This is the first thing I'm doing. So just letting that be out there. If I'm saying things and something didn't drop, that's why. But I plan to have 3 episodes out today, including this one. So check that out. Check out our social medias, our Instagram, our Twitter/X, our TikTok page, our YouTube. If you're not watching this on YouTube, this is also on YouTube, so check that out. All that is in the link tree in the link in bio. I just hit my desk. Ow. Other than that, I've been talking on way too long. Thank you all for listening to this episode. I am John Dodaro. Have a great day, everybody, and see you next time on The Final Verdict.